Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. 18 by 18 foot rings. Standard size rings in most boxing matches are 20 by 20. Turki Alalshikh's going with 18 by 18. Terence Crawford's going to lose to Canelo, people. Now, welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. Like and subscribe, become a member. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Leave that donation for that fried rice and chicken wings. Hold your horses. Turki Alalshikh said, fighters have been taking it to the stupid. Out there getting free money. You know, in economics, no such thing as a free lunch. And Turki Alalshikh is bringing that shit to an end right now. Let me tell you, the 18 by 18 foot ring is going to have a major impact on Terence Crawford and Canelo. Doesn't matter who you like. You got to be real when you sit here and you talk about an 18 by 18 foot ring. It is going to favor Canelo's pressure style. Okay? It's not, look, we're all going to have an opinion, but 9 out of 10 people are going to tell you that when you have a small ring like that and a guy who's bringing pressure, it tends to limit a boxer's ability to use footwork and angles effectively. Doesn't mean they can't use footwork and angles, but it's not as effective because they have less room to move around. Now, the small ring effect in Crawford and Canelo, look, like I just said, going to be less room for Crawford to move, man. You know, Crawford thrives on distance control. Okay? You watch him, he fights with his eyes. He's watching his opponent. They come forward, he goes a half a step back, he goes out an angle, he may throw to the left, hook with the right, step around, okay? He does certain things, but he's able to do it because of his ability to try to control the distance, but he's able to do that because of the space he has. But in a smaller ring, it's going to force him into more exchanges. He's not going to be able to do those things as effective as he could in a 20 by 20 foot ring. Okay? As a result, Canelo's pressure is going to become more effective. This is just all bad for Terence Crawford, man. You know? Canelo's already a master at cutting off the ring. Now he doesn't have to worry too much about Crawford escaping. Now, the 18 by 18 foot ring is definitely happening for the Edgar Berlanga Shiraz card. But I can't see Turki Alalshikh coming with Crawford and Canelo and deciding to give Crawford Canelo a 20 by 20. Especially when Crawford, you know, his philosophy is don't do too much in the ring. Just get the win. That came out of Terence Crawford's mouth. Those aren't my words. That was his advice to Chris Eubank Jr. You know you can fight. You got a good team around you. Just don't do too much. Meaning don't get into the exchanges, which is what an 18 by 18 foot ring will force Crawford to do if he faces Canelo. Just get the win. Well, Crawford, you're going to have to do too much because you're not going to have the space to make sure that you minimize your punch output. You move around, which you cut down on Canelo's pressure and his punch output to where he can go and get to the finish line and get a decision. It's not going to be like that, people. More close range fighting is what it forces. And that's what Terence Crawford may have to do. Now, I'm not saying Crawford can't do close range fighting. I just think it's, you know, he's highly susceptible to getting viciously knocked out in an 18 by 18 foot ring, fighting against the much, you know, I'm going to say fighting against a guy, Canelo, who's comfortable at 168. A 20 by 20, I think Crawford has a chance all day. I always say Canelo should be the favorite, but, you know, hey, don't be surprised if Crawford does it. But now I'm telling you, I think Crawford has zero chance. Zero. He'd have to stand his ground more. Come on, man. Canelo throwing them body shots and countering. How's Crawford going to avoid that shit? If he has to stand his ground more, how's he going to avoid those shots? And maybe he hits Canelo with something and he hurts him. Then it's all good for Crawford. But I think for him to get shots off like that, he's going to need time to reset and really be able to process what's going on in the ring. I just think in a smaller ring, Canelo's going to be able to get to him faster. So as far as Crawford, you know, taking time to reset, which is what he likes to do after he throws combinations, I just don't think he's going to be able to do it. So less time for Crawford to reset. And when you take all of that into consideration, there is a very high chance of somebody getting knocked down and knocked out. And it probably is Crawford, because if he gets caught, as far as those escape routes, those outlets that you have in a 20 by 20 foot ring, they no longer exist. Somebody gonna get knocked out and knocked down, you watch. It's bad. And even though Crawford feels, let me get my coffee, that size doesn't matter and that skills win the fight, a smaller ring can make things a lot tougher for Terence Crawford. You know, so as far as him being able to adjust to Canelo's pressure and all that, look, I don't know. I just think it's damn near, it's very interesting to see what's going on with him now. You know, there are some fighters though who have fought in the 18 by 18 foot rings, because it's no secret that it tends to favor the pressure fighter or the brawler. You know what I'm saying? Because those smaller rings limit movement and force exchanges. Like when Chisora fought Otto Wallin, that ring was small as hell. So just to give y'all an idea, that ring was super small. You could see that Wallin had nowhere to go. Chisora was on him. You know why? Because Chisora's team requested an 18-foot ring. And it was an IBF eliminator fight. And as a result, Wallin couldn't move the way he wanted to, and Chisora got the win. Ray Mercer, when he fought Lennox Lewis, you know, Mercer's team pushed for a smaller ring, possibly 18-foot ring, to favor Mercer's aggressive style. So this shit's been going on forever and a day. Then you look at Mundine, the guy from Australia, when he fought Danny Green in the rematch. Mundine expected a larger ring, but they set up a smaller one, which benefited Green's style. So smaller rings can dramatically change a fight's dynamics, forcing boxers to engage more, and that's what Crawford's going to have to do. Just like Berlanga and a Shiraz. Just like Shakir Stevenson Zepeda. Puello and Subaru Matias. You know what I'm saying? It is going to cause them to engage more and reduce the effectiveness of their defensive movements. So when you look at it, you know, that being said, who do you favor? You know what I'm saying? I don't know what else to tell y'all. Turki Alalshikh ain't playing. We know when Turki's in the house, every day is Thanksgiving. But when Turki's in the house, every day is not Christmas. And that's basically what it's been for these fighters. He's been like set turkey claws to these motherfuckers. Turki Alalshikh. Out here giving these guys huge money. And they've been out here taking advantage of them. Out here taking advantage of them. Up and down the ring, not trying to box, not trying to entertain crowds. Turki's tired of that shit. So that's why he wants smaller rings now, because Turki Alalshikh wants to discourage excessive movement. You can blame Devin Haney and everybody who's on that fight card, man. But really, Devin Haney's fight. And Ryan Garcia wasn't trying to exchange. Teofimo Lopez could have done more, but Barbosa buzzed him. But Teofimo won his fight. School, that shit was horrible. It was just one of the worst weekends in boxing. For real. It was like a tsunami of shit sandwiches. It stunk. And anyway, it wasn't part of the Riyadh season deal. But he saved the weekend, but he had nothing to do with Turki Alalshikh. But I'm just telling you, man, when Turki Alalshikh comes out here and he says no longer wants to see Tom and Jerry type boxing matches, he got one fighter constantly running while the other one's chasing him. We're not doing that. So we're looking to promote aggressive, fan-friendly fights under the Riyadh season banner. And this is one way where he can ensure boxers will engage more and rely less on defensive movement. And again, I'm going to tell you, all these fantastic boxers, slick boxers and all that, and great defense, Shakir Stevenson, that 18 by 18 foot ring is going to favor Zepeda. You know, fighters who like to brawl and like to put pressure on you. So when you look at it, I'm telling you, Keyshawn Davis already dropped the ball with all of his antics and bullshit. So the Crawford crew took a loss there because Keyshawn Davis didn't fight. Shakir Stevenson is going to lose to Zepeda, so the Crawford crew is going to take a second loss there. And then Crawford's going to lose to Canelo, which is going to be a third loss. So 3 strikes and you're out. And it's horrible, man. But I don't know, man. If a fighter is super slick, you know, maybe they can evade exchanges the whole 12 rounds. I just doubt it. I just can't help but think about Tony Harrison, Tim Tszyu. Tony Harrison, we all thought he was going to go and outbox Tim Tszyu. Then we saw that ring that we in. We were like, shit, Tony just couldn't escape. And Tim Tszyu, they had the audacity to say, oh, that was a 20 by 20 foot ring. That was a 20 by 20. No, that shit was 18 by 18. May have been 16. May have been 10 by 10. That shit was small. But anyway, the ultimate goal is high action fights. Crawford's got to deliver a high action fight. Shakir's got to deliver high action. Shiraz has got to deliver high action. Puello's got to deliver high action. Any of these boxers got to deliver high action, man. But they got to figure out a way to deliver the high action while knowing that their technical advantages are being taken away because it's a smaller ring. Them being movement-based fighters is being taken away because it's a smaller ring. And just trying to strike the right balance to ensure fans are excited and still a little bit of suspense there because fans don't want to come in the venue and know who's going to win. There still has to be some suspense. But I think the one thing is for Turki Alalshikh to make it to where he knows some of these boxers have a very advanced and diverse skill set. He wants to make sure they're using it. Not just your feet and run around the ring. Show us that you can fight inside. You can fight under pressure. You can clinch. You can counter. He wants to make sure these fighters who have these amazing diverse skill sets display it when they're in the ring. Anyway, I'll tell you what. This shit may create a trend in boxing. They may standardize the 18-foot ring as the norm. And for those who say that'll never happen, when Turkey's in the house, every day's Thanksgiving. Money talks, BS walks. You watch that shit become standardized, 18-foot rings. You want to get boxing back straight? 18-foot rings. You watch. Because that's the direction boxing's going. To make it to where these guys are in there fighting, no more running. And I think it'll be interesting to see how elite boxers adjust. You got guys who rely on all that movement like Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney. They may have to tweak their game. But then you got pressure fighters like Fundora and Tszyu who are going to be right at home and thrive. And when you get two pressure fighters in a phone booth, you get even more excitement. Matter of fact, isn't Tim Tszyu and Fundora fighting on that undercard? So yeah, that's another one. Tim Tszyu and Fundora. Yeah, they're fighting on that undercard. Yeah, that shit is crazy. Somebody gonna die. That's all I'll say, man. Anyway, y'all keep cool. More to come. I forgot Fundora and Tszyu are fighting on that goddamn undercard. Oh, someone gonna die. Anyway, good luck to everybody. But I just think now knowing that this could be the norm, and with Terence, Crawford, and Canelo, ain't no way Crawford wins that fight. No way. I think even Crawford's gonna know that. And for those of you saying Turkey wouldn't do that to Crawford, Crawford ain't the A side. I already said this. He's not the A side. Canelo is. And if Canelo wants an 18-foot ring, he gets an 18-foot ring. Canelo ain't gonna pull a Mayweather and say give him whatever he wants. Nah, Canelo gonna do what he wants. And Crawford will get paid huge money, but he'll get a very huge wake-up call when he gets violently knocked out in this small ring. Anyway, y'all keep cool. But pay attention to what Turki Alalshikh's doing. Fighters going out there getting them paydays, but they're taking losses. And now with an 18 by 18-foot ring, cats gonna be getting their asses knocked out cold. Yo, I'm in the breeze.